What's up, welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Peacemaker Season 2, out now on HBO Max, releasing an episode every week. Of course, this is the follow-up to Peacemaker Season 1, which aired way back in 2022, a longer than usual long wait between shows. Obviously, we know at this point, most TV shows that have any kind of budget usually take 2 years between seasons. This took an extra year, of course, because in the interim, since James Gunn made that show, which of course was a spin-off featuring Peacemaker that Gunn originally introduced in the Suicide Squad movie from 2021, James Gunn became the head of DC Studios with Peter Safran, and as the DC theatrical and television storytelling was completely reset. So James Gunn had a lot more going on between these two seasons. It makes sense that we had to wait a little bit longer. As a result, while he still wrote the entire season, he only directed one episode. And Peacemaker makes a really, I think, kind of interesting note with how it does and doesn't retcon Peacemaker into the new DCU. Of course, we saw Peacemaker make a small cameo in the latest Superman film earlier this year, which was showing that Peacemaker would continue in this new canon, which we already kind of knew because we knew Season 2 was coming. That said, there's a tactical retcon with Peacemaker Season 2, where we see the Justice League, Season 1 ending scene replaced with the new Justice Gang we met in Superman. And the Justice Gang, some of them actually do show up in this first episode of Season 2. So along those lines, it seems like they're kind of massaging the canon, so to speak, to keep the character in. And overall, I don't really have a problem with that. If you're going to continue telling a story with a character you think is working, which I do think the Peacemaker character is working, why not keep it in? You don't have to be so married to the old. And frankly, the DCEU towards its later years was pretty fragmented anyway. It's not a huge leap in logic. That being said, there is a reference in this first episode of Season 2 about Peacemaker killing Rick Flagg's senior son, who of course was played by Joel Kinnaman. That happened in The Suicide Squad. Joel Kinnaman, of course, his flag was introduced in the original Suicide Squad back in 2016. So how far does this go? I don't think we need to really worry about it. Things will be rebrought into this canon as needed. It'll happen. Whatever, it's fine. It's best not to dwell on it too much. The core appeal of Peacemaker remains the same with Season 2. John Cena gives us such a committed and honest performance as this guy who takes himself way too seriously as an actor in Cena, who has excellent comedic timing, but there's still enough dramatic bones to the character and what he's going through to make you kind of invested in that story. And I think Cena, to his credit, has become a good enough actor to really carry both sides of that. And the introduction of a new dimension with Peacemaker killing an alternate variant of himself really opens up this season for a lot more fun. The quantum unfolding chamber, unsurprisingly, gets kind of taken to the next level with this season after being introduced in Season 1. And I think the ability to bring back Peacemaker's dad, played by Robert Patrick, have his brother be alive and an adult in this other dimension, we'll see where that goes, right? I mean, they reference Bloodhaven, in that second season. I don't think we're going there. I don't think we're meeting Nightwing, but it's another part of this DC world. And of course, Superman this summer really introduced the concept right away of multidimensional things with everything Luthor had going on. So that's what we do, in this new DCU. So why not keep it going? I don't have a problem with that. I'll be curious, how the full ensemble continues to operate in Peacemaker Season 2, given there's a lot of personal stuff going on with Chris and his story and his connection to his alternate family. We'll see how that goes. But Hardcore and Adebayo, how do they go? How does Vigilante work? Will Vigilante carry more of the humor with Chris being more serious? These are all things that'll take time to figure out. I will say, if there's any indication based off the first season, though, we'll still have a lot of laughs. I mean, that orgy scene was absolutely incredible in the first episode of Season 2, very reminiscent of Herogasm from Amazon's The Boys. I thought the Justice Gang tryout sequence featuring Sean Gunn, Isabella Merced, and Nathan Fillion, thought that was really funny. The humor and the writing, which was really good, but the concept of Peacemaker being able to hear everything they were saying negatively about him, I think worked really well. So, I don't think the show's going to level up in any great way, but I think it's going to fit in nicely into this new DCU. And I think the first season was successful enough that that foundation has been laid, and hopefully maybe the Justice Gang pops up a little bit more. for some of that more of that continuity check-in. We don't need that to happen, but I thought it was pretty amusing how it did happen in that first episode, so we'll see. But yeah, Peacemaker, I'm still down to clown with the show, and I think really hats off to John Cena. He's really, I think, come into his own as an actor and is definitely at his best when he's doing comedic things, like a Blockers, like this, like his later appearances in Fast and Furious, when he's playing it more down the middle, strict, like he did originally in Fast and Furious, like he did in his early days as an action hero. I think he's less interesting, but he's really good at doing this. So let me know, what you think of Peacemaker Season 2? Are you optimistic about its future like me? Let me know. And for more TV reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.